Now think about this. Today, there's not a single country in the world that is debt-free. America's debt has already passed $38 trillion. Europe, Japan, China, and many other countries I can't even list. All of them are in debt, even countries famous for their oil wealth. And a very simple, yet very strange question comes to mind. If everyone is in debt, who actually owns this money? At first glance, the answer seems obvious. Banks, China, Wall Street. But if we stop for a moment and follow the thread, we realize something else. In reality, no one in the world is specifically in debt to someone else. The world is in debt to itself. Sounds strange, doesn't it? Today, debt is not just a burden. It's almost the foundation of the modern world. Home loans, pension funds, government budgets, they all run on the same script. One person's debt is another person's savings. The roots of this go much further back than we think. Long before credit cards or digital money, it began with a war. In 1694, England was at war with France, and the treasury had run dry. The king went to the merchants and said this: "If you give me money now, I will pay you interest from future tax revenues." That's how the first state debt began. And to manage this debt, the Bank of England was created. At first glance, what was done seemed small, but the consequences were enormous. The state began spending money it had not yet earned, and the merchants turned the state's promise into something that could be bought and sold. Then the idea spread. France adopted it, the Netherlands expanded it, and America financed its revolution with it. Debt was no longer a sign of weakness, it became a sign of power. If you could borrow, your credibility increased. When we look at today, the picture is almost insane. Total global debt is nearly 3 times the size of the world economy, and every few months another $1 trillion is added. So, who owns this debt? Let's look at the United States, because America's debt doesn't just affect America. It affects everyone. Most of the $38 trillion in debt is owed not to foreigners, but to its own citizens. Banks, pension funds, insurance companies, even the central bank itself. So Americans pay taxes. Those taxes are used to pay interest. And that interest flows into Americans' retirement accounts. It's like lending to yourself and paying interest to yourself. And this isn't true only for America. Japan lends to the United States. The United States lends to Europe. Europe lends to developing countries. And those countries take the money and invest it back into Western bonds. Everyone is holding someone else's paper. This system is like a table game. Every piece of paper someone holds was borrowed from someone else, and the game continues as long as no one stands up from the table. This is where the most important part begins. Because this system is not built on repayment, it is built on belief. Governments do not plan to eliminate their debt. They really don't. Debt keeps growing, being renewed, rolled over. Interest is paid and the principal is postponed. This is not a mistake. This is the system itself. Because there is a strange truth. If one day America decided to say, "Let me pay off all my debt," the global financial system would be seriously disrupted. Banks would lose their most important assets. Money would shrink and the economy would freeze. So, eliminating debt would not save the system. It would break it. That's why debt is like the heartbeat of capitalism. If the debt stops, everything stops. But not everyone benefits equally from this heartbeat. Interest payments flow upward, everyone pays taxes, but the gains mostly go to those who hold the debt. That's why as debt increases, inequality grows with it. and in the end there is no single person to blame. This system is not because of them. It is a system we are all part of. Debt used to be a chain. Today it is a scale. But like any scale, it is fragile. And if one day that balance breaks, we will remember what debt really is. A promise that cannot be kept forever.